fact, if they slipped a lot, we could go to a, I'll call it sort of caretaker mode till we work on a plan B. So to a reasonable extent, we have pretty good flexibility to stand normal slipping that you'd expect of a new system, and assuming we get one of those systems on board flying close to its assigned time frame, we'll be okay as a program.
We'll come back here for follow-ups at Johnson Space Center.
I just have two, and one is there something somewhere that lists what all is on board that we could see, like, you know, how much of everything's going up? Is there something like that out there?
There's a manifest we get.
And thanks. And finally, for Mike, can you've really done this all through this briefing, but maybe encapsulate it a little bit on the importance of this. I mean, this is really a significant vehicle. It's a brand new capability, and it's very impressive on the part of JAXA to get this thing ready to go. How critical is this to the space station? I mean, you basically already said this, but I'm trying to get it all in a couple of sentences.
Well, it's very critical. I mean, first of all, it's unique. It brings external ORUs to orbit, something we won't be able to do after shuttle leaves, and we won't have an additional capability like this until one of the commercial, a very specific one of the commercial vehicles comes into play. And of course, it's still early in development. And so while we have a lot of confidence that those systems will show up, this one's actually will be flying. It is unique in that its capability that we will need for these other vehicles. So all the things Dana talked to you about how we're going to capture a free flyer, how we're going to berth it, how we're going to remove the pallets to install payloads extra, all of those are techniques we're going to need for other vehicles that are going to come. So not only are we going to have a new system, we're going to test techniques that we need for future systems, including the rendezvous and approaches systems that communicate with the spacecraft for both the navigation work and just the communication, so we command it and control it from the ground and from the station. So all of these are systems and techniques we'll test out. The vehicle between the HTV and the ATV, those are the only two active systems that support the US OS that will be in play when shuttle retires. And so from that respect alone, that's a critical component for us. It is not, in and of themselves, there's not enough of them procured to support the needs of an active ISS and doing the research we plan to do, but they certainly could if there were enough of them flying. And so, yeah, this system is very critical to us, and this specific flight is critical to us because we need to prove this system out. So the rest of them that are coming, which are critical to our logistics train, and as I said, they're about once a year, will come on schedule. So it's also important to try to make this window. If we don't make this one, we're maybe February next year, and that pushes the rest of the vehicles out a bit. So all of this is very critical to us as a program.
Hi, Robert Perlman with CollectSpace.com. Just a couple of questions for Dana. You mentioned the camera system on the pallet for reinserting it back into, but are there cameras, or will that camera or other camera systems be able to give the HTV perspective as it approaches the station?
There's nothing on HTV that gives you a view as HTV's flying in from the HTV standpoint. So all of that's done using either cameras that are on the robotic arm, cameras that are out on our truss, and we also have a camera that's on the MT that we use. So those are all the views we're using. That one camera that you're referring to for the exposed pallet is unique, and it's there just to help the operator with alignment, getting it back in. The video ends up routing back through the arm and goes to the robotic workstation where they have their other robotic views.
Okay, and with regards to it reinserting that pallet at the end, if for some reason it cannot be reinserted, what's the contingency? Does it stay on station? Does it get jettisoned overboard? How is that handled?
There are a lot of different options. Before we get to that point, I think you heard me mention the forced moment accommodation. That's kind of it's basically a sensing system that's on the end of the arm that helps sense load buildup and misalignments. That'll help take out misalignments. So that system is going to help us get it realigned. Even if we don't have that, since we know exactly where the vehicle was and how we pulled it out the first time, from a robotic standpoint, we can use digitals and figure out pretty easily how to go get it reinstalled again. If for some reason we have mechanism issues and none of those tricks work, We do have capability, if it's partially inserted, to go tie it back in place in HTV. And since it's got grapple fixtures, you could go and temp stow it somewhere else. You could go put it back on the GEM exposed facility. So there are a lot of different options for where we could put it if we really couldn't get it back inside HTV.
With that, that was our last question for this briefing. We'll go ahead and conclude with the programming notes about the flight. The launch will be covered on NASA television. It is indicated in the current Space Shuttle mission NASA television schedule. And launch is approximately after noon Central Time on September 10th, next Thursday. So the coverage for launch will begin at 11:45 a.m. Central Time. And then docking coverage will begin on September 17th, a week later, at 2 p.m. Central Time. And as always, you can follow the mission along on the web at www.nasa.gov/station. And for now, we'll send it back to Mission Control for the STS-128 Space Shuttle mission. Thank you.